What's up? My name is Diamond Stylz. I go live usually every Friday at 7, but I'm grown and sometimes I got grown folks' business. And so I was handling grown folks' business. We are going to discuss the documentary Enigma on HBO MAX that follows two trans women, April Ashley and Amanda Lear. Um, they are from the UK. And yeah, it was a dope ass documentary. So we're going to discuss that. So stay tuned for that. If you are new here, welcome. If you have been coming here, thumbs up as you come in. Um, yeah, usually I go down in the bottom once we get done and I do chapters. So there will be chapters in the bottom. What else? 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 You can find all of my links. Da da da. I just made some t-shirts. So I made a t-shirt called "Protect the Dolls," and it is so cute. So there's a link in my Teesprings down there. So make sure you check that out if you like t-shirts and stuff. I just think it's a cute ass shirt that I made. So check it out. Um, what else? Yeah. So how are y'all been doing? Let's get some people some time to come in. How are y'all been doing? What y'all to eat this week? It's 4th of July. Happy 4th. You know, we celebrate Juneteenth over here. What do I think about the bill? The ugly murderous bill of Donald Trump passing? Is that what you're talking about? What do you think I think of that? What do you think I think of it? Hmm. I mean, I think it's I think it's the most glorious, beautiful bill in America. I think it's gonna change the state of America. It's gonna be so beautiful and it's gonna make poor people successful and it's gonna save the lives of poor people and it's gonna save the lives of old people. It's gonna do so many amazing things to America. Bullshit. Of course, I hate that bill. I think it's fucking stupid. I think it's going to kill people. I think it is disgustingly autocratic. I think that it is, it is a train wreck waiting to happen. I think one of the things that I hope people pay attention to, if you look at the bill, y'all hate this camera. Come on. Why is it doing this? Zoom in, motherfucker. um, One of the things that you pay attention to, if you look at the details of the bill, it says some of this whack shit is going to go in effect soon, but the Medicaid shit that's going to affect people is not going to go into effect until 2028. So when it goes into effect, potentially it could be a Democratic person in office, and that's going to give them a chance to blame that president for the impact that it's going to have on people, the impact that it's going to have on the economy, the impact that it's going to have on people, the impact that it's going to have. But they're going to have 4 years of bullshit. Do you see what I'm saying? So they're going to be able to blame it on, if we do vote a Democratic president in, they're going to say, "Oh, look who's the president." Like they did. They just are. They're really maximizing this really low literacy rate in our country. They're really maximizing on the stupidity of some of these people. They really are. And it's just crazy. It's crazy to see people this delusional. So that's what I think about the bill. I think the bill is disgusting. Yeah. But I will discuss that later on in another live on a deeper level. What else is going on? I'm going to open it up later for other topics, but I just want to see how y'all are doing for the first little 10 minutes. they just got extended like they did with the first tax cut. Yes, in 2017. It's just extended it. And so, yeah, I don't understand. But this is my thing. As an African American, I am used to Democrats not doing what the fuck I want them to do. They might make some promises and they might do some things and do, they may not act on it, but they're not doing something against you. Do you get what I'm saying? Like for me, the Democrats usually don't go far enough. They like, ooh, we're reaching across the aisle. We got to do something that works for everybody. And that's not. I'm not saying that that's a problem, but I wish that Democrats was as aggressive as Republicans when it comes to doing things that are more beneficial for us. I feel like let's pussyfoot around and just get a little bit. And then when the Republicans get office, they like, give it all to me. Not just give it all to me. Let me get a little bit more. Give it to me. Give it to me. They are vicious in how they dominate. And that's something that I'm actually, I don't want to say proud, but I admire about them. They like, when we get office, we're going to put the 3 motherfucking justices in who don't have no who don't have no history in they don't need to be they don't need to have any kind of the credentials that they need. We just basic bitches on the thing. But we got to have the pristine, absolute, undeniable blah 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 blah. Katanji Brown Jackson. And you get what I'm saying? We gotta have these, you gotta be elite. Oh, we know that's just they. And I'm not saying that is a problem. What I'm saying is they're just aggressive with getting what they want. And I wish that our side was more aggressive in getting what we want. Not immoral, not unethical, but aggressive. So I'm as a Black woman, I am used to Democrats not giving me exactly what I want. What I'm not, what I do I want to say this? What I'm not used to is just blatant lying. Like I'm not saying Democrats don't lie. I'm not saying that. But there's a difference between saying we are not going to touch Medicaid, then we get in office, we're cutting Medicaid by trillions. Democrats don't do that. They might do some sneaky stuff behind the scenes and spin it real funny. But there's a difference between being, we're not going to do this, do it. We're not going to do this, do it. That is crazy to me. Or Republicans, then the opposite can be said. Because then the Republicans will say, oh, we're gonna deport these motherfucking immigrants. And bam, we're deporting. there is a honesty and a lying in it. It's something that's crazy. We're in a fucking enigma. as this video is titled, Enigma. We're in Enigma. So there's a part of them that is like, oh, we're gonna do this crazy shit because we have set it up. We have spun it to make you hate these people. We have spun it to make you hate trans people. We have spun it to make you hate immigrants. We have spun it to make you hate Black people. All these welfare queens and these moochers and these criminals that we need to put in jail. We need law and order and be tough on crime. Let's lock them all up. Kick them off of WIC. Kick them off of TANF. Force these lazy bums who've been milking the economy, force them into working and getting off their ass and pulling up their bootstrap, totally lying to you about how much they contribute to the economy. Totally lying to you about how many of the people in rural areas who vote for Trump are on assistance. Many of the people are white, are Americans. Many of the people who are utilizing those programs are their constituents. So, it's crazy for me to think about people who literally are getting Medicaid and like, well, I'm voting for Trump. What? But then I shared a video where this lady, old Latina lady, she don't even, her pussy don't even work. She ain't even in perimenopause. She is in whatever the menopause after menopause. She old, got a disabled daughter. Two of them. She disabled and the daughter's disabled. She get Medicaid and get assistance. And she is literally not in any age bracket to be able to have some babies. Literally. And she told the interview that the reason why she voted for Trump was because of her stance on abortions. Bitch, what? You ain't even having babies. Your daughters ain't even having babies. One of her daughters got cerebral palsy. Now, I'm not saying they ain't out here fucking if they want to be fucking, but she probably not gonna be out here fucking. I'm not saying that they don't, because some people might. But listen, y'all ain't at risk of having no abortions. You are basing the priority. Your personal priority was abortion? When you're a disabled Latinx person who came over here illegally as an immigrant, got your citizenship after many, many years, and your priority is abortion. I can't understand that, y'all. I really can't understand it. I don't understand that. Like, it doesn't make sense. It's like I am, let me think. It's just, I don't know, prioritizing something that really does not affect you. People who you out here, they're cutting AIDS medications, programs where you can get your medication, and you out here hating on trans people. That's your priority. And these people are cutting programs that give you funding for your medication that you can't afford if you didn't have it. So you probably, if they cut this program, you probably gonna die. And because you hate trans people, you out here women are women. Women are not born with penises. And you about to die because your medication about to get cut, the program. And that's what I don't understand it. I don't understand that. Because the first, and this not just for me. This is not just for me. The first rule, I feel like the first quintessential rule of any organism is to survive and live. And like, I don't like, do whatever you need to do to survive. It just feels like something innately natural, since we love to talk about natural. It just doesn't make sense. It just really doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand it. And I'm actually, and I don't know if y'all are on a fixed income. I don't know if y'all are working. I don't know how are y'all making y'all money. I don't know how y'all doing that. but are y'all constantly thinking about how close y'all are to poverty? Like how many, I'm literally calculating how many months that I can survive on the income that I have now. And how would it stop if mine is supported by my people? So if my people don't have enough money to be my patrons, my people don't have enough money to support the podcast, my people don't have enough money to do that, that's going to affect my income. When we're talking about economic recession, how long is that going to last? If you have a medical condition and it gets bad and you can't work, are you thinking about how long it's going to take for you to be homeless? How long it's going to take for you out here doing illegal stuff? And then that illegal stuff can make you vulnerable to being put into prison. How long? And then I talked about this in another video. And then the game ain't even the same. When I was growing up, we didn't have SEPTA and FOSTA. I'm not saying that all the girls got to go into prostitution. I'm not saying that. But that was, to me, how I thought about it. It was, honey, it was a tool in the toolbox. Yeah, I'm going to go. I always worked. Anybody who know me, I always worked. Even when I was a hoe, I worked and got a job and blah, blah, blah. But it was just a tool in the toolbox. If shit get bad and I need to make some shit work, I can throw up an ad and throw up a have a few clients, blah, 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 blah. That was a survival tool. Like, boom, I ain't got to do it all the time, but I can just do it. Ooh, honey, I made my whatever my rent for the month is $2,000. And my job only gave me this amount of hours, so I only got 1,500. Shit, 1,500. I need 2,000, 250 for each client. I only need 2 clients. How long is it gonna take me to get 2 clients in a month? Not long. If I put an ad up, boom, make 2 clients. All right, I'm done. Do you see what I'm saying? That's how I usually would play it. It's like, yo, boom, put an ad up, turn 2 little tricks, you done. Work a weekend, you done. That's how I usually think. That's how I thought about it. But now we got phosphorus, SESFA, they fucking up even how your clients can be able to find you. How your clients be able to find you. It ain't like how it used to be when I was growing up. It's a different era. Bitches is working hard to make some money out here when it comes to sex work. Not in nowhere near how we was when we were younger. It was easy to turn a trick and have some fun and make a little cute little coin and then go on about your business. And yeah, to me, y'all bitches are doing a lot of motherfucking work for too little ass money. And yeah, and a lot of fucking exposure. Like we used to be, honey, you can go put your ad up, be discreet, be a little da-da-da, and go back to your corporate little job and be cool. Go back to being a teacher. Go back to da-da-da-da-da. We didn't have to be on OnlyFans to make no money. We didn't have to do video to make no money. We didn't have to promote on Twitter and just be out there with our face and with our body. Da-da. We could be low key because we had little discreet little ads and da-da-da-da-da. So you ain't ruining your life or your future opportunities because you got this fucking shit out here because you didn't have no other way. No, we had a little. It was a discretion and some It was mystery, darling. We had mystery, a mystique. There was a mystique where you can go play in the dark arts and you go out in the woods and honey, naked in front of your campfire and be witchy and come back to the real world. You over here with your girls doing the dark arts, and then you come back and you get what I'm saying, you live your life and it's not going to affect your future. Now you got to make money, you got to have a Twitter, you got to have OnlyFans, you got to have some video. No, I don't like it. I don't like that. If the game is different, the game, and they can lock your ass up. It's just crazy. It's just a whole different thing. Now, I blame a lot of the girls for making the game public. I don't think it's the girls. I think it's the laws that's happening. The girls is working around the laws. They shut down all of the sites. Don't blame the girls. If your first mindset is to blame the girls, don't. There's something else. The girls are trying to survive. So they shut down the sites that we normally would go to. Craigslist, Backpage, They shut down the sites. The only way the girls had to advertise is the public sites. And so that made it more public. You're gonna have to make it work. And so you use the algorithm in your favor. So that comes with OnlyFans, that comes with Twitter, because now Twitter is the only one that you can actually put news stuff on. You can't do it on Facebook without getting now Facebook, you post a little picture and then you put the link in the comments. You see how that it's changing when it comes to people are figuring shit out because people are putting them in corners and this is their way to survive. And so it's not them, oh, I just want to be public and we're doing something wrong. No, that's not their fault. They are trying to adjust to the system that is changing to harm them. That's what it is. That puts it, and it goes back. We'll talk about anyway. Wait. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that because I feel like it needs to. We need to discuss that, and it's relevant to this conversation. Because if we talk, I want to talk about it in a segment of the show. So, have y'all watched the documentary? Have y'all actually watched it and sat down and seen it? Did y'all enjoy it? I'm going to go through some of the key points that I wanted to talk about. But that's inevitable, baby. It's inevitable that police officers and detectives are going to search through ads, search through all kinds of stuff to find out the lingo. They have done it in all generations. They have done it in every country that has a system of policing that criminalizes sex work. Detectives have gone in and pretended to be Johns, pretended to be all the things. That's how they learn about the language of Johns, the language of roses. That's just a part of the game of them criminalizing something. That's not the girls doing it. That's the game of criminalization. They're gonna find out the language. Same thing happened with drugs. Same thing happened with anything that has to do with criminality. They are going to find out the language and the lingo. Even if things that don't got to do with criminality, anything else, anytime it's a subculture that people want to mooch off of, they're going to go in and send somebody that's not in the culture and learn about it. It's cultural anthropology. That's what I consider myself, a cultural anthropologist. That's what people do. They go into a culture. Usually, it's same thing Zora Neale Hurston did when it comes to hoodoo. Zora Neale Hurston went into the hoodoo world, literally become a priestess, got initiated to find out about it because of her love for it. That's something that's not in the criminal aspect, but something that you just do. When you don't know something, you go figure it out. That's just normal, especially when it comes to something criminal. They're gonna find out the tea just by engaging with it, being an undercover. What does roses mean? All the cops got to do is call and ask what roses mean. They know what the fuck roses mean. They're gonna figure it out. Just like when all the Backpage and all the shit started to be shut down and they start using Bitcoin. They started figuring out, oh, the girls are using Bitcoin now. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're gonna figure it out. That's not the girl's fault. That's just the way the cookie crumbles when it comes to criminalizing sex work. So anyway, I hope that explained that a little bit. So let's go. So I'm glad that y'all watched it. I watched it. It was good. I am going to watch it again. Yes, I just watched it for a second time, for the third time before we started now. So I wanted to go into the stuff. So, damn, went through everything and forgot who created this. Let me go. I'm not going to go through that. It is called. Is HBO created? I can't think of the director. I can't think of that. I didn't look that up. I was looking at the details of what was going on. So make sure y'all, if y'all can find it for me, post it in the chat. It was definitely produced by HBO, and I don't know who the director is. And my bad. I apologize. So, but it follows two trans women. And what I love about it is that it is showing you, that's why I call this the tale of two paths, because it is showing you two trans women from a particular era and how their paths went in different directions, all based on one being stealth and one being not stealth. And a little bit, and they have multiple examples of this, but the main examples is April Ashley and Amanda Lear. All right. So they start off telling you this history about this club called Le Carousel of Paris. So the Paris Carousel. And they mentioned this the very, very first like trans cross-dresser drag club called Madame Arthur, which I think is a dope little thing. Zachary Ducker directed it. Thank you so much, Jenny. Um, um, is it on Netflix? No, it is on Max. I'm so sorry, but what is a documentary again? It is the title of this video. It is called Enigma. I think, didn't I put that as a title? Hold on. I don't know. I can't see it. But yeah, I think it's the title of this video that I'm here. It's called Enigma, and it's HBO Max. So in early 1947, between 1947 and 1961, there was this like golden era of this club called the Carousel. It's not the first one, it's kind of like the second one, but it was managed by the same person. So I am going to put Carousel in the chat. Oh, no, that's not what I want to do. I'm going to put it in the chat. I'm going to put the Wikipedia to the history of the club. Yeah, so this club was like the premier queer club during this time. Like not just queer, the premier club, like the most expensive. Like it was the shit. Like this is one of the clubs that was like, wow, they was the main attraction of the city. And this is in the Champs area of Paris. If you've ever been to Paris, I love this area because it has like tons of shopping, it has tons of food, and it's right by the Arc. And so it's just like a straight line, and it goes all the way to where they cut off the people's heads at. It's so dope. And so this area of town is really clean and really like because if you've ever been to Paris, it's really kind of dirty. To me, I feel it's dirty and it smells like cat pee. So because people love to piss in the street and it be smelling like ammonia and cat pee all the time. And my nose is really, really sensitive. And so it smelled like pee. Cat pee. Anyway, this is one of the areas that is clean and it looks nice and shopping is great. This is where, not far from here, is where all of the high-end brand stores is, but they have non-high-end brands too. It's just a dope little area. So in this area is the Champs. And so this is like the golden year of this like grand carousel club. When it was like the most expensive club in America, it was the it place to be. They had, and what was dope about it is they had a multiracial group of queens that was there. This is the place where all the races go, and boom. And what you also got to understand that this is what made Paris Paris. Now we know Paris is has a long history. France is a country older than us as Americans, as America, older than us. So it has a long history. So that I was about to say this is what made Paris Paris. No. In modern times, what we fantasize about this era of Paris, why it became this chic, open, free place that the amazing Josephine Baker went to and became basically the Beyonce of her time, because they were more accepting of Black people. They were more it just was a place that was more queer. It was more. It doesn't mean that it was great. It's just that this was a time similar to how we think about. Do y'all remember? During the hippie time, during the late 60s, early 70s, it was like love, free love, and people were trying to get over racism. Don't mean racism was gone, but it was just a time of cultural shifting. And so this was during this time of Paris, it was that time too. Like this is a time when James Baldwin and the novelist Richard Wright, who wrote Native Son, Richard Wright, James Baldwin, Josephine Baker. This is that era. This is that era where people were leaving America because of its racism and going to Paris and thriving artists and just different type of people. This is when Black people were becoming stars. When we think about Danielle Luna, this is when she was going there and becoming the first Black model to be dope. We did a video about Danielle Luna's documentary on HBO. This is also the time that the Beatles are coming into flourishing. So all these rock bands that were influenced by Black Americans and rock and roll Black Americans, influenced by queer rock and roll icons, Little Richard, Big Mama Thornton. So all of this shift that's birthed from queer people and queer culture is booming in the UK. This is during the time Quincy Jones went to Paris. Yes, so many things are happening. It's a hotbed of creativity, and it just is what it is. So I want y'all to understand that. And this is just a little side story of James Baldwin and Richard Wright. So James Baldwin is the renowned queer author from America. Richard Wright, also renowned author. I don't know if he's queer. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he might. I think he might be queer. I'm not for sure. I'm not for sure about Richard Wright, but we know James Baldwin queer. So both of them were under investigation for the FBI, under the FBI, because they were Black. And so anybody who was an author or of notoriety during this time, during this kind of 50s and 60s, and this is J. Edgar Hoover. This is that time. Tina Turner was erased. Absolutely. During this time, they were under surveillance by COINTELPRO. They was under surveillance by J. Edgar Hoover. Do you see what I'm saying? So Richard Wright took James Baldwin under his wing, but they kind of started to have a clash, and Richard Wright thought that James Baldwin was an op. Like, he thought that James Baldwin was a spy came over to France, because Richard had went to France in 48. I think it was 48, something like that. And James, when James came, he thought that James was an op of the FBI trying to like spy on him. So it made a rift in their relationship. And then James Baldwin critiqued his book Native Son, and he was like, "Oh, like a negative critique. Oh, this nigga really a op." So they really fell out. But the tea was, James wasn't an op at all. He really fucked with Richard, and they both was under surveillance of the FBI. So he was under surveillance, but it wasn't James Baldwin who was surveilling him. It was somebody else. So he thought it was James, and it was this whole scandal. And no, it wasn't James. James wasn't an op. But he did critique his work. Nigga, that's what happens when you're a creative. People gonna critique your work. Anyway, so I just want to tell y'all that little bit of stuff. This is also when the Moulin Rouge, all these things that's in kind of the zeitgeist of our brain about Paris, the Moulin Rouge. This is when it was popping, where things was Josephine Baker walking down the street with cats. This Black woman is just, this is a clock this deep. It is no coincidence that this Black woman from America is the Beyonce of our time. This exotic woman. She done danced with the bananas. She is boosting the idea of the exotic Black woman, African. She's walking down the street in leopard print with a leopard. She is working the idea of this African queen type of this kind of fetish African queen. And if you go to Paris in the places that I've been, there's a lot of decor that's like zebra and African, because there was a time when that was a part of the what was in and what was in vogue and what was in fashion and in style, that African themed stuff. And so her Josephine was like kind of boosting that up as an entertainer. It is not a coincidence that she was just as exotic and just as novel and just as sensational as a Black woman doing that as these trans women in this carousel club that these trans women were working at. It is not a coincidence. We try to explain to y'all all the time the connection between transphobia and misogynoir, and why the exotification of a Black woman runs parallel with the exotification of a trans woman, and these things being connected. I know y'all don't want to try to admit it, but it is connected. There's a reason why these two things were being sensationalized all at the same time. So I want to point that out. So anyway, they had in this club called Carousel, they had multiple racial groups of queens. And in the 1950s, Cosinelle became the star of the pair. She was one of them. And the two people that kind of worked there, one of the people was April Ashley. And so there was another young butch queen coming up who looked like a brick, who was an Oriental girl, but looked like a butch queen. And April took her under her wing and was like, "Yo, we about to turn you into one of the girls. Come on, you got the cheekbones. We can turn you into one of the girls. You broke, you ain't making no money. Come stay with me, and I'll pay the difference." Is what April is telling her. Her name is Pecky at this time. I'll pay the difference. I'll pay the difference because I know you're not making no damn money because you are art student. You making paintings and you ain't making no money. And so come on, I'll show you how to be one of the girls. Come on. You said you want to be the girl. So come on, let's go. So she take her under her wing and move her in, and she becomes one of the darlings of the show. So I thought that was, they're showing pictures. They are showing everything that has to do with Pecky's history. They're showing April and her together in pictures. They're showing all these beautiful historic moments of this booming club at the time. At this time, these girls are stars. Like, they are stars in the city. We're not talking about international stars, but in the city, these girls are the stars. They literally on the news, just going shopping, and they seeing these girls and say, "Oh, they used to be lady boys. They used to be boys, and now they're girls." It's this moment where, and they're not harassing them right now. They're kind of just like, oh, they know what it is. Nobody is really kind of hiding. They're kind of just doing their thing because it's the it thing to do in the city. It's the it's the ooh, we're going to the drag club just like now. It's the novelty of it. These women really look like men. It's kind of like what is it called? The Pearl Box Review. Is that the right name? Pearl Box Review here in Houston. Pearl Box Review.
Pearl Box has a rating of 4.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. What is it? What was the review here in America? Damn. Can't remember. It's slipping my mind. I hope it's the Pearl Box Review. It's something Box Review. Stormy Delivery was in it. Let me look up their Wikipedia because I know it's in there. Jewel Box Review. I said Pearl Box Review. Jewel Box Review. So it was like the Jewel Box Review here in America. Jewel Box Review had tons of queens, had a drag king. Stormy was in it. And they just had this moment. They were having this moment where it wasn't. I love this part of. Sometimes I love this part of culture where it's not deep. Nobody had the chance to demonize it yet. Do you see what I'm saying? So everybody's like, "Oh, we accept this. This is so amazing," and blah blah blah. Blah. It wasn't. It didn't kind of become super mainstream to where everybody got to say, "Oh no, we got to stomp this down and make it negative and make it about the devil." And da, da. This was a time, a golden era when people were loving to go see this novelty thing. It hadn't been that nothing negative has been built in the spin of it. You see what I'm saying? Think it's kind of like pre this Trump era when it comes to trans people, pre 2016. They didn't need to make a spin. I'm not saying that there was no negative shit that came with trans people, but it wasn't a national discourse. The ladies of the baton got the last of that celebrity and celebration of trans drag. Amen. Come on, ladies in Chicago. So the girls, this is also the Harry Benjamin time of transgender standard of care. This is a time when you're supposed to go get your sex change and just gone. Go get your sex change and just gone about your business. I do want to read this because there's one of the very first club, Madam Author. The very first club that was known here as the trans kind of show club was based, the name of it, Madam Author, was based on that poem. And I think it's dope. It says, Madam Author is a woman who made people talk about her for a long time without newspaper, without puff, without publicity. She had a crowd of lovers. Everyone wanted to be loved by her. Everyone courted her. Why? That's that. Without being truly beautiful, she was certain of, she had a certain something. His height was a very ordinary. His eyes small and lively. His nose turned up. His voice clear. His feet arched and wiggling. In short, look at his face. Nothing stirred you. But behind it, his figure promised something I don't know what. Her lovers remained faithful to her. It was she who sent them away. She loved new passions. An old love displeased her. And each one, with sorrow in his soul, no longer having use of his heart, said, Alas, another woman will not have his, I don't know what. And so it goes into this whole play about this woman who is a he and a she and da 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 da. This is from 1866, 1860. And so the name of I'm sharing this because there's a lot of trans shit that was happening in this era of the time, but this is just one that during prior to this, but this is just one of those peak moments where we have the newspaper, things can be sensationalized. And so this club is named after that old poem about maybe a transvestite or about a trans person, about somebody in regards to that from the 1800s. So they named the club after that because it was so popular as a piece of art, as a piece of poetry. So I wanted to share that with y'all. So, and I'm just kind of going through my notes. So another element of the times, because this was like the Harry Benjamin time of that you're supposed to go get your sex change, you're supposed to be stealth, and you're supposed to just kind of do what you need to do and then kind of live a whole different life. Cut everything that happened to you before off. So the girls was going to Casablanca. The girls was going to Morocco for surgery. And because this was a badge of honor for the girls, some of the girls would keep the connection to the doctor secret and hide it from the other girls. Especially when you're in a time where this carousel club is the only way you can make money, or you go out and be a prostitute. Because at this time, you could not work as a trans woman. You could not work. People would not hire you. Got it? People would not hire you. So it was either work at the drag clubs or be a prostitute. And that dynamic stayed around for a very, very long time. I know we don't start seeing the girls working and not being fired and openly being trans. I feel like, to me, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like that didn't start to, or housewife, if you could find a man willing to do that. I feel like that didn't start changing until the 90s. I don't feel like that started changing. I started seeing more girls doing kind of work stuff, not being stealth, in the 90s, early 2000s. Do y'all agree? I'm not saying that there weren't people working before that. Yes, but I'm talking about being an open trans woman at your job without consequences. I would say late 90s, early 2000s. I started to see more girls at their job as a trans woman. Like, oh, they know she's trans and she's out here doing her little job, whether it be a secretary or at the a nurse. I know when I was growing up in Indiana, there was a girl who was a nurse. Yeah, so yeah, I started to see more people working openly. So April started talking about a story where one of the girls had went to get her sex change, but she wasn't giving the tea up. But the homegirl of that girl said, hey, she snuck and wrote it down on a piece of paper and snuck and gave it to April. I think this is what you want. She's not trying to give you the tea, but I'm going to give you the tea. Her name is Kiki. So Kiki snuck and gave her the connection to the doctor in Casablanca, in Morocco, for the surgery. What y'all feel about that? Because I feel like that's something that was common in the 90s. The girls would know who the pump ladies were. The girls would know who the surgeons were, but they wouldn't want to give you the tea because they're hater ass bitches. And so I want to know what y'all feel about that. I felt like, I'm talking about not being stealth. I'm talking about openly trans. So do y'all think I feel like this is a part of the negative side of trans sisterhood, because of, I know that there's a competition even with the cisgender girls. I know that, but I'm talking about with the trans sisterhood. I feel like because the competition, because of the opportunities that we have, the competition can be even more steep. And I think the girls, their insecurities can be even more heightened. And so because of that, I feel like they can be out here really sabotaging the other girls by not helping. Now, this is a certain type of girl. There are tons of girls, just like Kiki, who is like, yo, I don't care about this tea. That's how I moved. If I knew some tea, I'm gonna tell you the tea. But there are some girls that just opposite. Some girls is like, once I find it out, once I find the hormone doctor, once I find the surgeon, once I find this, once I find the laser people, once I'm not telling anybody, it's for me. I think that that's shady. I just think that it's shady. I've never been like that. Anybody who know me and they call me and ask me or want some tea from me, I tell them, hey, this is where I went. This is what I do. I've always been pretty free about any tea that I have. We had to do deep cover investigation to get shit, and once we got it to the girls that get like, yeah, remember when we found Jane? Who found Jane? Vanessa. Vanessa found Jane, and Vanessa was one of them girls that don't want to tell everybody a tea. She don't mind telling her friends a tea, but she don't want it to be everybody. But I'm the type of girl that, girl, I want the girls to be fish. All the girls. Well, I want the girls to be sickening. So I'm trying to, I don't care. Like, if I got the connect, it doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. It's like, bitch, we got to connect to, and there's a capitalistic nature to it too. Motherfuckers will want, ooh, well, how can I get some, if I bring you some more people, can I get some discounts on my laser? There was like they were trying to exploit the whole situation. Like, ooh, can I get some discount on my silicone? They were trying to exploit the situation. And I just think that shit is shady. It's just crazy. I didn't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. Me giving you the connect to the laser. How is that gonna hurt me? You having a clear face and me having a clear face. It just, to me, I never thought about it. Listen. I don't know if this is my mother's doing. I don't know if it's the world, how the world treated me growing up. I don't know what it was, but I always felt like, bitch, can't no motherfucker make me feel like I'm less than. I don't care what they got. You can have all the titties, you can have all the whatever. When I come in the room, I'm gonna be one of the sickening girls. I've always felt like that. It was my mother. I want to say my mother played a part in it too. When I come in the room, I may not be the prettiest girl, but I'm one of them bitches that you're gonna be like, oh, she pretty too. Or even if the girl in the room is pretty and she's sickening and da 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 da, you ain't never gonna say I'm one of the ugly ones. That was my goal. When I come in the room, I'm sickening. I'm one of the girls. I'm not the best girl, but I'm one of the girls. The girls that, honey, that put pressure on these hoes. You see what I'm saying? It was always, I just never felt like when I come in the room, a bitch could sit me. And I'm not talking about being better than them, but I'm talking about make me feel like I'm ugly. I know I'm not going to be the dime ass bitch in the room. I'm not going to be the brick either. That was my goal. I may not be the prettiest bitch. I may not be the fishiest bitch, but I'm a bitch that the niggas is going to like too. So whether you got your face clear, you got your titties, you got your body done, I know that the niggas is going to like me too. I know that and this is the young mindset, where the male gaze was important. I don't give a fuck about no niggas now, definitely for sure. But when I was young, who the niggas like and niggas liking me was important. And so I knew when I come in the room, I ain't gonna be the one. I know that if I'm the third wheel and a nigga gotta entertain me, he ain't gonna be mad. When he see me, he ain't gonna be like, oh damn, I gotta deal with the ugly one. I gotta deal. No, niggas is like, damn, that's the one. Let's go. Even if I was not the prettiest, I'm something. And that's how I always felt. I always felt like I was cool, like I was above average. I always was fly. I always was, you know what I'm saying? I just, if I ain't got something, I'm gonna go steal it. If I ain't got, or I'm gonna hope for it or whatever. I'm a always do me and be comfortable with me. So I never had a vibe of I need to gatekeep so the girls can be better than me. So the girls can't be better than me. Girl, I don't care. And I always wanted the girls to be all punishing because in my brain, I automatically thought if we were all sickening, it would change. I believe that I knew based on my lived experience that if you were pretty, you got treated differently. And if we were all pretty, we all would be treated differently and treated better. And so I wanted all the girls to be sickening. I wanted us, my dream in high school was all of my trans girlfriends to go to the same high school. It was like, oh, for us to be, because y'all know this was during the 90s and those 90s teen flicks, the Craft and Jawbreaker. I wanted to be the trans version of that, where all of us looked different and we had our own look, and we are walking down the hallway in high school, beat and sickening, tipping down. I'm imagining, I'm a Pisces, so I'm always fantasizing and thinking about the moment of all us tipping down, looking different, some tall, some short, just sickening. That was my dream. It never happened because, we all lived in different places and, we just had different living situation. But it was just something that was my fantasy and dream that I wanted to happen. And so I just never have been that girl where I felt the pressure of competition or the need for it. I just thought it was stupid to gatekeep shit like that. Anyway, so I wanted to know why I asked that is I wanted when Kiki gave her the number to the doctor. First of all, I thought that was sickening, but it also reflected in that time the same thing that happens now. Bitches don't want to tell you who their doctor is, who did your face, who did your nose, who did your body, bitches don't want to tell you who the doctor, who did your teeth, who the fire doctor in Dominican Republic. You gotta fucking pull motherfuckers' teeth to get the basic information. And so I was like, oh, so the girls ain't changed. So Kiki being the plug was a sickening part of that beginning of the story. The story. So April went and got her pussy in Casablanca, and it was funny because he asked her when did she want to get the surgery, and she said as soon as possible, and he said, oh, sign into the place and we'll get you done tomorrow. This bitch got her coochie the next day, soon as she flew in. I was like, the kids was not playing back then, baby. Coochies tomorrow, 24-hour coochies. Work. And these is the early day coochies. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what the early day coochies was doing. It sounds like, I know they was monstrous. I know they was monstrous. I know they was Bot City. I don't care what nobody say. I know that they was Bot City. Or if they even worked. Yeah, if it was just a hole, baby, nothing worked. Anyway, to be the experiment girls, the girls that the kids was experimenting on. Ooh, Lord Jesus. Thank goodness for me to I didn't want no sex change anyway, so that never was well, when I was in high school I did, but by the time I hit my early 20s, baby, I was not worried about once I got addicted to getting head, baby. I was not worried about getting no coochie. In my early 20s, that the dream of sex change was dead. By the time I was, I want to say like 21, 22. Yeah, 21, 22. My dream of sex change was done. I that was over. So yeah, so April Ashley went and got her coochie, and she started doing modeling gigs. She started to be an underwear model in Vogue. So when we think about groundbreaking things, she was literally in Vogue being an underwear model because her body was sickening and her body, and she got her sex change and she's out here. But of course, because she was an open trans woman working at the carousel and out here on TV doing these kind of things, because she was openly a trans woman, it started to get around that she was a trans woman. And so people started to harass her. And she started to lose jobs. Her whole life was, I don't want to say going up in shambles, but well, kinda, because she wasn't getting no work. Now she could go and work at the carousel, so that always, you can go back to that. But it gagged her that boom, now everybody know I'm trans. I ain't got no opportunities. So this is when she meets Arthur Corbett, her first husband. So I thought that this moment was funny because April said that her first husband was a transvestite. And when they got married and she was his public, she was like, I don't really love you like that. Probably because she sensed that this was a woman and a butch queen. But he said, it doesn't matter. I love you enough for the both of us. Let's get married. But he said that she said that he was a transvestite and tried to be the girl behind closed doors. Now, anybody, if you have any trans friends, we would tell you there are men who there are girls right now who started off as the trade, having the trans women, and they get close to the trans women just to get on moans and start being the girls. That has never happened to me, but I have seen that happen to people in the world where they're men, where I meet them as a piece of trade, and they seem like, oh, that's her little piece, or oh, he's a little trade, like a little dusty little thug. And honey, baby, 5 years later, he got titties and he's on hormones and got hair and a wig on. And you like, oh my God, yeah, it has happened to you, Ty. Got hair and a wig on. But, that's just, it's something that happens. And so it's funny to see that it was happening to the girls all around the world. Even back in the day. So her husband, she said her husband, when men would flirt with her, he would get all jealous when he was the husband. But then when she was that girl, she would get jealous of her because, girl, I'm that girl, honey. And you trying to tip around like you fish, honey. All right. So that dynamic is fucking hilarious to me. Imagine your husband coming out acting like a competitive trainee. I just couldn't live like that. Like, I would have been like her. I'm out of here. But she said, honey, I left him in 14 days. Like, I stayed with him for 2 weeks and I'm done fucking with him. So 7 years later, he was still living in her house that she says, I can't tell if she owned it or they just owned it together, whatever. She said she was frustrated about him living in her house and not paying bills, even though she furnished the whole house. And so anyway, I don't know how that really, really worked, but she sued him. They were trying to get divorced and there's a lawsuit, blah, 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 blah. So it turned into this groundbreaking divorce case. And in the moment, he told her tea, even though he was keeping her tea a secret for a long time before they was in this divorce case, but he told her tea, and they forced her into these examinations, like these fucking physical examinations. Sound familiar? Olympians, Black or POC Olympians, does it sound familiar? Uh-huh. So we know that the POC and African and Black Olympians got to go through these gender examinations. Sounds familiar? See that overlap? How you ain't too far from the trans experience? That Venn diagram, that area that it overlaps. You ain't too far from being mistreated and examined and your gender questioned. You ain't too far. So they made her go through this humiliating gender examination. She was like, baby, my shoulders was a 36, my hips was a 36, and my waist was a 17. But they didn't want to tell that in the story, baby. They didn't want to tell you that my waist was snatched, baby. I was an hourglass. They wanted to tell you that my shoulders was 36 and my hips was 36. Baby, they tried it. So the negative side of the negative consequences of this type of publicity is they voided her marriage, and it snowballed into all trans people losing their rights when it comes to marriage. Too familiar. And now they said that Iman Khalif has to give back her gold medal. I haven't heard an update on that. So it forced it made all trans people lose their rights to get married. And it snowballed into we not only could get married in our affirmed gender, we actually couldn't get married in any way now that we have changed. So now we can't date women, we can't date men, we can date them, but we can't marry them on any side. So that's how this exposure in her life, this trans exposure, kind of snowballed into a negative effect. And I wanted to show y'all this. More history. Y'all know the name Forbes, right? So y'all know that because of the monarchy, there are people who are considered the aristocrats. Like they are part of the they are like the nobility. One of the reasons why Princess Diana was a good suitor for Charles is because she was her Spencer name. She was a part of that kind of that noble lineage. She come from good stock. They were blue bloods. They were aristocrats. And you can be an aristocrat but not necessarily a part of the British monarchy, but you can be in the nobility, like those kind of distant relatives. So a night before, so they voided out her marriage, but a night before that April lost, even though she lost, what they found out the night before is that she could have won because there was a precedent already set by a trans man who was a part of the like nobility, the aristocracy. Gag. His name was Ewan Forbes. I'm about to put it in the chat for y'all to check it out. So, but because he was a part of the British nobility, the whole little thing, he was able to seal it. He was able to change his birth certificate because what happened with him in 1965, he stood to inherit the not the throne, but his inheritance because he was a boy. Now he was in line to inherit because he was the firstborn. He was in line to inherit all his baronetcy, like him being a baron, all the things that comes with him being the nobility of the time in his family. He was the elder brother. Because he was the second. He would have been the elder. He was the elder child, but he was actually born a girl, but he was a boy now. And so he was trying to get it, but his cousin was trying to steal it from him. And so but because he was intersex, raised as a girl, the intersex part is kind of like, were you intersex or were you not? It was one of them moments. What but because his cousin was trying to come in as a cisgender male, come in and steal that from him, he was like, no, I need to change my birth certificate. And they let him do it and they changed it for him. And now, because he's living as a boy, they recognize his claim to the title of this inheritance. Gag. The case was held in like tons of secrecy because of how, because he was one of the, the nobility, and it was sealed. And so the judgment was in his favor, and it became widely known. They learned about it when he died in 1991. Gagged everybody because he was born a girl. So this was the first time that it had happened. This was the precedent. So if she would have knew about this, she would have been able to win her case. But she didn't know about it. They didn't tell her about it until the night before. And so she actually lost her case. And it just set this horrible precedent, even though for somebody who was in the nobility, it was something that benefited him. So talk about misogyny and privilege. Trans women misogyny. Trans misogyny. Transmisia. Whatever they calling it nowadays. So I thought that was an interesting story of UN Forbes about a trans man who had kind of set the precedent in the UK. That was a part of nobility. We in all the T's. Clock that. We in all the T's. We're somewhere. There's a story that has been hidden, and we got to uncover them. We in all the T's, from the royalty to the poverty. Whatever. We in all of that shit. So gag about Mr. UN Forbes. Clock that T. I just thought that was dope. So then the documentary goes back to Amanda Lear. So they done establish with pictures and with historical knowledge of Amanda's as Pecky, P-E-K-I, Pecky. April helped her become one of the girls of the carousel. And so, because this was an it club, it was people started to fucking come. Celebrities were coming, just like drag shows, just like the Baton in Chicago. Celebrities was coming, and it just was a thing. And so she got connected with what's his name? Salvador Dali. Salvador Dali, I think that's how you name the artist. And he was into trans women. So he sees her and he like, hey, come through. I need me a trans pet. So she brings him, and he brings her into his entourage, because he, at this point in his life, is a celebrity. He's like a celebrity artist. He is the one of the Andy Warhols. You know what I'm saying? He has this. He's a Basquiat. He's just a artist, and he's eccentric. He's just one of those people in the world now. So he brings her as his pet, similar to how Andy Warhol did to Gia Darling. Is that her name? Gia Darling? Am I saying that right? Is it Gia Darling? Who was Andy Warhol's little trans muse? Wasn't it Gia Darling or not Gia Darling? I got it. Andy Warhol's transgender muse. Candy Darling. Candy Darling. That's her name. Candy Darling. Yes, in the same way that Andy Warhol had a trans little pet. Andy Warhol had all kinds of pets. He had a Butch Queen pet. He had a like his Butch Queen pet was Andre Leontelli. And then he upgraded him to Basquiat. Anyway, But he had a trans Candy Darling. He had a trans pet. These artists has all these it made their personality and their demeanor more exotic and sickening and interesting. It helped them become this enigma. So Salvador Dali had that same mindset, and one of his pets was Amanda Lear. And so he met Amanda Lear after she had got married. So April helped her find this man at a bar, and they paid him to marry her, so she now can become Amanda Lear. So what I love about this part of the story is April is showing you, like, I helped this bitch become the woman that she is. I helped her become the woman that she is. And so, why? I don't know. Then this bitch is becoming a model, and she trying to follow with rock stars and get busted with pills and drugs. And April got to come save her and testify against her. Crazy. Get my food. I'm starving. So, which is where the birth certificate of Ossiport. I'm eating some Wingstop. So April is like, so she started to get more and more distance from April because, bitch, you out here telling your tea girl, I'm out here trying to be the fish model. And she's seeing how April was treated. This is also what you got to clock. She done seen April lose all her livelihood. And this is during the time when, honey, you can lose your livelihood and you be out here sucking dick for quarters. This is not a time where, honey, ooh, you'll just bounce back. No, bitch, you'll be out here. You can go from being the queen of the Nile to motherfucking, honey, Cinderella. So Amanda Lear is like, yo, I'm going to call you when I get lonely, when I'm feeling glum, because you a girl, you my homegirl from the past. You helped me get to where I'm at. But I'm over here with my pussy, because she gets her pussy too. I'm over here with my pussy trying to get in these opportunities. So that's when she started to distance herself from April, even though April is the one who like helped her out of jail, testified for her, all this kind of stuff. And on the court documents, her legal old name, her Pecky was on the documents, even though she was denying it. So this is where you see in the documentary, Amanda is lying and saying, that's not me, girl. And in this moment, I am cracking up, bitch. For when I first watched the documentary, when she was doing that, bitch, I was squalling, bitch. I was cracking up. I was like, yes, Amanda, stick to your guns, whore. I don't know who that is. What are you talking about? I don't know her. That's not me, darling. I was cackling. It was just something that was so funny to me. And part of me was kind of livid. I don't care what you show me, girl. That's not me. I don't know what you're talking about. Who is that? Who is she? Huh? So she would name some of the girls who worked with her at the carousel, and she was like, oh, I don't know her. I never met her. Oh, she came to my shows, but I never met her. Oh, she wrote me a letter, but I never met her. I don't know her. I seen her here, but I never met her. She kept saying she never met Miss Bambi. But she was like, oh, she wrote me a letter. And she was spewing all this information about Betty. Oh, wasn't she an intellectual? Wasn't she a teacher? Didn't she go on to be a teacher? I've never met her before, but I was cackling. Oh my God, I was cackling. It was so funny to me. But I always thought of her as a classy, noble person. Cackle. So she meets David Bowie. So she meets this guy and he becomes, I can't remember who the guy was, but she puts him on the I don't know if I'll be up that early. My lash lady is telling me she want me to come early. Do I want to wake up at 9? Ooh. Yes, I'll come. Not her hitting me at 10 o'clock talking about, ooh, can you come earlier? Girl, if you don't sit down. So so she gets hired as a model to be on this cover in this sickening leather with a cat and these heels with a black cat, and she looks sickening. And so David Bowie saw her on that cover and met and wanted to meet her, and then they started a relationship. So they started dating, and I wanted to point out, y'all know I'm messy a little bit. But I want to point out that overlap. That overlap. It is not lost on me that David Bowie dates Amanda Lear, trans woman extraordinaire, and then goes on to date multiple Black women. Miss Cherry from that used to be his background singer. Is her name Cherry? I think Aria Cherry or something. And then he goes on to marry Iman, the African beauty from Somalia. That overlap, I told y'all, when they fetishize other races, I told y'all that in my experience, if the niggas like white girls, and it's the other way, if they fetishize other races, it's not hard for them to play in these other waters. Because the social structure says to be against that. The master narrative, as Toni Morrison will call it, the master narrative is you do not mix. The master narrative is to stay with your own people, stay with your tribe. And it's not saying that that's bad or good, but the master narrative for a white motherfucker says, or anybody, not just white, but definitely white, because there are consequences for you to be with somebody that's not white. There are social consequences. So clock that T. Black is queer to them. Yes, blackness is queer. So there are social consequences. So the master narrative is that you marry you a good white woman, so you can make good Peckerwood babies. That's the master narrative. You play with them, but you come back over here and be a good, respectable man and create some good white babies. That's the master narrative. So anybody that has overcome the master narrative to go over to something else, it's easy for them to do other stuff. The master narrative is the beauty standard, which is anti-fat, anti-black, anti-gay, anti-da-da. It's easy for you to say, oh, I'm going to deal with another race. It's not hard for you to say, I'm going to deal with something anything else that's exotic. So I want y'all to clock that T. It's not hard to make that switch, baby. There was also a rumor in the 80s that Iman was trans, but that's just misogynoir. Any woman, Grace Jones, any beautiful black woman is gonna have some type of, especially if they're a model and they got some height and they're tall, there's gonna be some kind of rumor about their gender. Because transphobia affects us all. All right, all right, all right, all right, all right. So so David Bowie says, "Girl, why don't you get into music?" She's like, "Cause I don't know how to sing, girl." He's like, "Oh, girl, I don't know how to sing either." We just be doing stuff. We just be on the mic, girl. Come on. Come on over here and make some music. We are in the era where, child, we can, honey, do our thing. So do you want to be a star or not? So she becomes, this is what gagged me. Clock that T. She becomes the white queen of disco. Now, what's the gag about this, about the white queen, is that she's actually Asian and white. But she just so happened to be blind. She admits that she's got some kind of Asian in her. She called herself Oriental. So she got some kind of Asian in her. And so, well, it might be all Asian. We don't even know, but she could be just Asian. And so it gags me that she is, but now that she's blind, she now has upped her status as a woman. And so this is a great article by Tressie McMillan Cottom about the social class that you can switch back and forth to for being blind. Why blonde is important. No, I don't think it was a wig on Amanda's head. I think that was Amanda's hair. I don't think that, it might have been a wig sometimes, but I don't think she didn't have any hair. But yes, so she becomes this queen of disco. And so when we think of queen of disco at the time, she is in the era of like when Tina Turner was doing disco. When you think about this time, she was the queen of disco. Think of this Gloria Gaynor time. When we think about it does not fall on deaf ears. It does not miss me that this is also the time that Sylvester is coming up. You get what I'm saying? This is also a time where, yeah, this is just that time where sexuality and the enigma of sexuality, enigma, was just, part of me was also like, were you really passing? Or were people just letting you get through? Because some of the other girls was getting through. Sylvester was getting through. This was just one of those times where the girls was getting through. Sexual freedom and people being free, who cares? So, one of the cringy moments, if you're listening, make sure you thumbs up. Androgyny was the in thing, absolutely. That's why David Bowie was doing very androgynous shit. So let's go to one of the cringiest moments of the documentary is somebody brought up the interview with the German lady. So the interview was pressing her about being a transsexual. And It was cringy to me. How did y'all feel about that moment? I know it was funny, like, it's funny, like, in regards to how she was holding on, but I also felt some kind of way that this bitch was pressing her like she was doing. Like, bitch, fuck you. Like, bitch, get out of my fucking business. I said I'm a woman, hoe. Why the fuck why you keep going there, bitch? I'm telling you these motherfuckers lying, bitch. You playing. She definitely was not letting it go. I'm tall, skinny, with a husky voice. I'm a model. Honey, let it go, bitch. Like, it was a moment where I was like, she just kept going. It was kind of cringy to me. And so it started this, and she was basically addressing this because it was tabloids and campaigns because she was the queen of disco. So imagine if, the same thing that happened with our stars now. It's like, yo, if we get any kind of rumor, look, especially if you got proof, we can go back and look at pictures. We can go back and look at all kinds of stuff. And they started had the tabloids of their pictures side by side. It started to be this tabloid campaign. Now, we didn't have the internet at the time, of course. So it was more about papers and tabloids and magazine covers and just bullshit ass fucking tabloid shit. And so she was saying in the moment in this interview, she was so cunt sitting there though. Your honey, Miss Thing was sickening. Miss Thing was punishing. I live for her. She was sickening. When the interviewer was talking, one of the things that she mentioned, she was like, Playboy has offered for me to come and pose nude for them, but I want y'all to know me for my music. So I think that at first she was giving all of that, but it started to spin out of control to where she ended. She said she was on that interview. She said she was not going to do Playboy because she wants you to know her for her music and not about that. But in the end, she actually ended up doing a news spread with Playboy, but she got a pussy. So, okay. Oh yeah, that's what I did. I'm a woman. Spread my lips. Let me spread my lips for you, girl. But it was given very it was I need to see the spread because I wanted to see, was it given a spread or was it just given my legs is closed, my legs is this, my legs is that? Where you see I don't got no dick, but I actually open the puss up and show it? Because remember, these is one of them old school pussies, because what they giving? Are they giving Frankenstein? Or is it giving pretty cosmetic coochie like that we got now? These is one of the old school ones, girl. So is I ain't even checked. I wanted to see what it looked like. Let me see if I don't know if they're gonna show it, but Amanda Lear's Playboy spread. Yeah, it's just giving. Yeah, it ain't giving. Open the pussy up and show it. Yeah, it's not giving. Yeah, it's not giving open the pussy show. And this gonna be shade. So when I don't want to give no, if I say this, I don't want to give nobody a complex. Sometimes I don't be want to say stuff because some people be in their delusion and I want to keep them in their delusion. But sometimes, like, okay. So, all right. So, anybody, if you're a trans woman, a pre-op trans woman, we is about to get an anatomy lesson. So, if you are a pre-op trans woman, or you a drag girl, yes, Tula did show everything. Mother Tula is sickening. Anyway, um, but didn't Tula come out a little bit after her? When was Tula's era? I feel like Tula came after, like they had upgraded. They did an upgrade in the server. I think Tula came out a little bit later. I'm not for sure. I think they were a little bit more advanced than when Pecky was getting her snatch. So, okay. So, all right. So, if you are a pre-op girl or a drag queen, there's a particular way that we tuck. And that way is to take your gonads out of your scrotum and push them up to the top. It's this cavity that's in the back of your pubes. If you don't know, this is just something that a cisgender man wouldn't know because he usually would never do this. And y'all tell me if I do it to my trade just to be funny. I do it. I show my trade how to tuck and how to put in there just to be funny to them. So they didn't know that there's a cavity that is there. Basically where they came from, possibly. And so there's a cavity up there that you can push them in. And so I don't know if I can show this. When that area has been filled, yeah, more advanced for sure. Yeah, because some people think you just push all your junk back. No, you put your scrotum and your meat back, but your balls go up in that cavity because it keeps everything flat. So, and that's if you know how to tuck. Some of the girls don't know how to tuck. Honey, you walk behind them, you see a bulge of meat in their booty hole, like they got a hemorrhoid or something. He like, girl, did nobody teach you how to tuck, girl? And so anyway, so to me, and I don't know if I can show this. I don't want to show it and it get I want to close it off. How do I close it off? Y'all Google y'all Google Amanda Lear's Playboy spread and then hit images. When your balls have been up in that cavity behind your pubes for a long time, it stretches that skin out. And if you look at the top of her kitty cat, I still see that. I still see the puffiness of that cavity in the way that's different than a cisgender girl's. And I see that a lot of times. To me, it still looks like that cavity is there. Especially if you're in certain positions, I can still see it. So y'all tell me if y'all see it. And you somebody who is not used to seeing trans people naked or seeing trans people's bodies, they may not clock it, but I clock it. So that's anatomy. That's the only anatomy lesson that I want to point out. Where I'm like, it's still giving. It's giving I got a snatch, but it's giving I got my cavity still. But it's really prominent in it really can show when you are a skinny woman. When you are skinny, it really shows. But when you thick, everything looks plump. on cis women or trans women. When you thick, everything just look plump, so you can't really tell a difference because it's just a layer of fat everywhere. So it just look voluptuous and soft. But when you're skinny like her, and with no kind of just that woman body, that 70s white woman body. Um, yeah, it's giving, girl, what? So that's my mindset in that. Anyway, but yeah, she ended up doing the Playboy thing to prove that she was a woman. But also, what was quite interesting in this time of her life, her music, a lot of people brought up her music. In her music, there was a lot of innuendos. There was a lot of am I or am I not? It was a lot of uh, she played with the idea because you don't have no talent. She wasn't a singer. She couldn't sit and hold a mic and be like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna wow you with my voice." The whole gimmick was Enigma. I'm a mystery. Do you know? Was I or was I not? And it was that was her whole gimmick. And she knew how to do it. And Salvador Dali told her, bitch, lie. You don't ever tell these motherfuckers the truth. And he wasn't necessarily talking about her gender identity, which I think he knew, but he's talking about, girl, we superstars, bitch. You give them your celebrity. So the same way that Berry Gordy was the A&R groomer of like the Supremes and Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye and all these artists who have a particular je ne sais quoi from the era because they were trained to be superstars. I think that this was happening to her with the people who she were around with. Somebody said that she was around what was his name? I just talked about him. Andy Warhol too. So all these artists, these artsy motherfuckers, bitch, you ain't got, and David Bowie, you ain't got no talent, girl. You here to be a superstar. Be a superstar. Don't give them the mystery. Give them that. I think that is what we're missing in today. I think the last relic of that era is Beyonce. Beyonce don't be giving y'all shit. But her artistry, she don't be giving y'all no kind of personal shit. Unless it's something she want to give you. She is, honey, on mute. Mystery. She can't dance, can't sing. Yeah, so her transness was a part of her image, and she played into it. So back to April. April was talking about how people, now mind you, there's two things happening. Amanda is blowing up in her stardom. She is like the girl, like she is like queen of disco. So she is like, I want to say, oh no, she's just that girl right now. She's that girl. So, but April, who is the open trans woman, she like, yo, people, she says this gave people, ordinary people, the right to bully me, even sexually assault me. They would go up and grab her titties. They would go up and touch her like in public. She was like, people would be so rude to her that to her, she was wondering, this is what she quoted in the documentary. I wondered who was the fucking freak. Y'all trying to make me seem like the freak, but I'm sitting here classy, being a lady, and y'all coming up grabbing my titties. Y'all coming up grabbing my crotch. Y'all coming up doing some of the most rudest shit that y'all would never do to anybody else. So who is the freak? and she was losing all of her jobs. Like, she wasn't losing her job. She wasn't be able to work and kept losing jobs, and she just couldn't make it. So what I love about April's story, she said, all right, you motherfuckers don't want to give me work. I'm about to create my own work, and I'm going to create a restaurant where all the girls is in here. It basically Hamburger Mary's and for that era, where all the girls is in here is trans girls or drag queens or something, and y'all come and get entertained and eat your food. I know how to make this money. I know how to make me my own opportunity. And so bam, she started being a restaurant owner and using her transness as something that brings people on. Like, yo, we're about to have, this place. Just like the carousel was something, I'm about to make my restaurant something. And it became, it was booked 3 months out. So I thought that was dope. I thought that was amazing and admirable and just a hustler. She's like, baby, I'm about to be out here making this money. So in this moment, I want to take a pause and I want y'all to think, because I want y'all to think about intersectionality. All right. One of the reasons why we are talking about April and Amanda is because of their privilege as white women. Yes, there are things that are being obstacles for them because they are trans. But because they are being read as white women, there are also opportunities that are coming up too. Marriages, even though they failed, restaurants, Black girls' race would have been an obstacle that they couldn't have got over, or would have been another obstacle that they could have got that was a part that they had to get over, that and their transness. Race, when we talk about privilege, in this moment, race was not an obstacle for them, but it would have been if they were Black. Got it? So when we think about privilege, it's not about you not getting any obstacles. Like, whiteness is like, oh my God, it's just opening the pathway to every opportunity in your life. No, it's not going to save you from everything, especially if you have other marginalized identities. But what you don't have to worry about is that all the other marginalized identities being a barrier, and race being a barrier. Race is not a barrier for you, because you're either white or being read as white. So, what category of person is raising capital for a restaurant? Period. We'll get to that. We'll get into everything. Do you think that the Black community would have had an open arm to her if this was a Black trans woman? As far as mainstream, no. Hell no. And it's a subject that I want to talk about in another episode, but I can kind of bring it up a little bit. T.S. Madison was recently posted something on her. I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save it because that's a deeper conversation that I don't want to railroad the documentary conversation. But there's a T.S. Madison posted something recently about the non-binary, her and Angelica. I haven't been able to watch it yet because it just came out. So like within the hours, like within like 3 or 4 hours ago, her and Angelica does a show together where they're interviewing each other and they're talking about the non-binary thing. And so, but recently there was this, this unnuanced conversation about non-binary being a new white thing, and T.S. Madison says something along the lines of Black community, Black households are not talking about non-binary. And I have a problem with us dumbing down Black community just because we don't use the same language. I don't think she's right at all. I actually think she's absolutely wrong, especially if you're racializing it. There are tons of white families that are not talking about non-binary either. There are tons of white families that are not talking about trans issues, that are not talking about non-binary. There are tons of white families that are not giving a, a gendered education in their family. They're not having conversations about trans people. They're not having barely having conversations about gay. So making it like it's a Black thing, I feel like that's anti-Black and anti-intellectualism. That's making you are making it seem like Black people are too dumb to talk about what white people are talking about, as if they're not dumbass white families voting against their interests right now, mega families that don't know nothing about trans people. That is fucking stupid for you to think that only Black people are not talking about non-binary. Is there families that are not talking about it? Yes, but there are intellectual families that are. Just like it's intellectual white families that are. Usually people are not talking about the trans issue unless they have a trans person in their family. It doesn't really come up like that. And that's all races. So thinking that only Black people are not having the conversation about trans. My family was having a conversation about trans because I'm a motherfucking trans person. They was having it back in the 90s. My family was talking about it. You know who else was talking about it? The church that I was going to, they was talking about it because I was a trans person going to the church. You know who else was talking about it? My school. My school, because I was a trans person to go into the school. And so they were talking about it. If you didn't have a trans person in your vicinity, you probably weren't talking about it. Black or white. So making it seem like Black people in Black households aren't talking about that, I think that's fucking stupid. Because other races who don't have a trans person in their vicinity weren't talking about that shit either. Boyd was talking about it in the 70s. Clearly, we're talking about two white trans women in this documentary. And there was some white people talking about transness. So making it seem like it's not Black people talking about shit is ignorant and anti-Black. It's making it seem like Black people don't have intellectual conversations, or Black people don't have queer conversations. And just because they're not using the language of non-binary, which is quite new in the past, not the idea of non-binary, but using it as a gender identity is quite new. Just because we were not using that language don't mean that we weren't talking about it as Black people. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It dumbs us down. But I think it is talking if you're just but just on a language standpoint, it is white people that are not talking about non-binary. Or however you put it, whether you're talking about a language or as a concept. It's white people who are ignorant that are not talking about it, just like the ignorant Black people that are not talking about it. So making it seem like it's a Black thing reiterates the idea that Black people are more homophobic, more transphobic. I don't believe that. Now, can we talk about people who want to be more free, can be more free because they're white? Sure, we can have that conversation, but making it seem like the Black community aren't having these complex conversations about gender when we queer as fuck is racist. To me, is anti-Black and is racist. if you're not black. It's racist. But it's anti-black if you are a black person and you are spewing this idea that black people don't have these complicated conversations. And it goes back to what I was talking about last time. Sometimes we can, I've said this analogy before. I think it's perfect to talk about here. Sometimes our immediate problem can seem more big because it's right in our face. So for example, if I'm a little fish, and here's this big ass shark, okay? And I'm running through the water and just think about Finding Nemo. Remember when the sharks was chasing them? And I got this big ass shark, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm running away. It's trying to eat me. It's trying to eat me. The concept of what's going on is this is the most imminent danger, and it's big and it's huge, and it just feels like the most scariest thing because in the moment, it is chasing me. It's trying to chomp me and eat me. The problem with black people is that because this imminent danger, particularly queer people, this imminent danger, sometimes we forget that racism pollutes the water that the shark is in and the little fish is in. So the racism is killing us all. This seems more imminent, but the racism is polluting the whole water that you and the shark is in. So sometimes, and I use that analogy because sometimes you look at black people because you black and you're in community with black. And when you go over here and the white people are exotifying you and being like, oh, my nice black friend, and being sweet to you, you think that the black people are being more mean than the white people when they're being just as they kicking their kids out of the house too. But because you black and you go over here, and because they're they're like, oh, black people, oh, but let's treat you nice because we don't want to be considered racist. So we're going to treat you like a little monkey pet. We're going to treat you nice. So you think the white people are more nice than the black people because they were being mean to you. They were bullying you because you were queer. They were bullying you because you were into anime. They were bullying the black people, the black people, the black people. So you making it seem like the black people are the worst thing in the world when the whole fucking world is fucking anti-black. But because you were in community with us, it just seemed like the most imminent danger. They seemed like the shark, not knowing that the fucking whole world put y'all in this fucking small little tank together, which y'all shouldn't be. So now you can't be free and run around. They put you in a position where they got to eat you. They put you in a position where they wearing you out. So when you come out of this cage and you got to go over here with them, they're putting on their nice face. But they're voting against your interests. They're giving you microaggressions too. They're being just as mean to their people. You think gay people aren't being kicked out of their house? You think trans people aren't being kicked out of their house? Because they're in the white community? You think white trans women aren't getting any kind of discrimination? It's stupid. And it's about your perspective. Listen, every bully in my life has been a nigga. Every bully. Almost. When I started going to school at the white school, then it turned into a white bully. But I grew up around black people. So every bully that I had was fucking black. So when I go out in the world, if that's all I experience, I can think that, oh, it's only the black men are the worst. Not knowing that these white motherfuckers will hang me just as quick, probably faster, because they don't have no community connection to me. But I'm gonna get off my soapbox. I feel like that shit is anti-black. I feel it's weird. I feel it's I feel it's like you pedestalizing white people's culture as if we don't know that they are the scum of the fucking earth when it comes to culture and when it comes to hate and when it comes to pillaging and destroying shit. They are the scum of the fucking earth, and you want to act like black people are the worst. Fuck out of here. Anyway, let me go back. Y'all piss me off. Not y'all. That shit is pissing me off. That anti-blackness is pissing me off. Clock that shit. Fix it. So back to April. So I wanted to point out that these white women, while they're both are being affected by forced to be stealth by choice or whatever, forced to hide their transness, or forced to deal with the effects of being open about being trans. That's what April being trans. That's what April is dealing with. And so she's making her opportunity. So they are both dealing with transphobia in a certain way and have been since they were younger, but they are not dealing with that and being the racism that could come because they're not white. They're not black. And so they don't have to deal with that. So the black people that was at the carousel, because April talked about there was a black girl that was there. What's her story? Even the privilege of y'all two having this documentary about your life. That is a privilege. You can see who was at the forefront at the carousel. The white girls. We see the footage. We see the privilege that comes with being a white woman, even if you're trans. We see it, and I wanted to point that out. And also, I was like, what would start to be a question for me with Amanda is like, why you never had any kids? Eventually, you got all these marriages and ain't nobody knocked you up, girl. There was a moment in the documentary that I thought was quite funny. I thought that this was funny too, and it was shady of the editors. So and y'all tell me if y'all clock this. So there's a moment where Amanda is giving her normal teas. I don't know her. I don't know him. I don't know. That's not me. That's not me. They're going through the pictures, and she's like, "No, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. No, no, no. Oh, such a beautiful girl, but that's not me. That's not me. That's not me." It's so funny. So when they switch to her, and she got another gag. This is the subtext of the conversation too. They're talking about how she used to be an art student. So when April found her, she was a boy. She was a fucking butch queen, and she was an art student, and she was painting. And then she told Salvador Dali that I'm a painter just like you. And the gag is, right in her old age, denying that she's a trans woman, she got all her paintings in the back of her. All your paintings is displayed behind you, which is a gag, because that is a through line of how we know that you, motherfucker, you an artist, you a painter, and you ain't got rid of that skill, and we see it back there. But then clock this too, because this is towards the end of the documentary. And she is basically really bringing home the idea that one of these trans women were negatively affected by being open about being trans, and one of them is currently not open, and she was able to flourish in a certain way by keeping it a secret or keeping it a mystery. So the camera a sickening painter too. It was sickening. I like that though. No matter what evidence you think you have, it's not me, bitch. I gagged. It was so funny. But clock this subtext. So the camera switches to Amanda outside in her lush, luxurious yard that's well groomed. It looks like a rich lady yard. She's spraying it with the water, and it looks all sickening. She done built this beautiful house for herself. She's done this retirement house, a sickening house, a big old yard. It looks lush. She's gardening, da da da. And then they switched to the trans woman who was telling her tea, and her house don't look as luxurious as Amanda's. And she's spraying her one little plant. She is spraying her one little almost dead plant. Right after they just show Amanda in her yard with all these sickening plants, all trimmed and full and green and pretty. Girl, they could have bought me for a wooden nickel. Baby, I had gagged. I said, the editors are shady. They are shady for doing that because they go right directly to that other girl. It wasn't Bambi. It was somebody else. Capucine. Was it Capucine? I can't remember the other girl's name, but remember they showed the other girl, not Bambi, not the one that was a teacher, but the other one that was kind of older. And shout out to Alana Starr. Alana Starr was on it too. Trans porn star icon. Alana Starr was coming up during the time that T.S. Madison was coming up too, during the sex worker porn star era for the trans people. It was Alana Starr, T.S. Madison, TSJ, Wendy Williams, that the trans redhead trans Wendy Williams. They were coming up all in this time too. So that's a little bit of sex workers porn history for us too. Alana Starr was one of those girls, and she has moved. She used to live in New York, one of the big girls in New York, and now she moved to Paris. So she was in there too. But one of the girls who worked at the carousel with them, she is not living a sickening life like Amanda. And so they switched from Amanda living in her luxurious home to to this old trans woman living with her one little palm tree plant. Baby, that was so shady. I just thought that was shady and funny. So April, let me go back to April. So April interviews. So when we think about her interviews, they start showing a little bit more of her interviews, even from when she was younger to when she got older. And every single one her interviews on TV always stayed on the topic of her transness. Nothing about her career, nothing about what she has done for community, nothing about some of her groundbreaking work or community work. Ashley never abandoned her community. She fought for decades to change some of the stuff that was holding trans people back, like marriage and just everything, getting all of your ID changed. She fought so hard for that stuff to change. Now it's reverting back, but there was a time when she fought and was winning. She was helping the fight for her community to be more advanced and to be respected and have her name change and all this kind of stuff. She fought to get that done, not only for herself, but it snowballed into helping herself. Helping the community and herself. Do you see what I'm saying? She never turned her back on community in the way that, Amanda Lear did. She fought for decades for change. And so what that ended up doing, that ended up getting her respect, not only in the community, but it ended up getting her respect from the British monarchy. Like she got a MB, which was like the next best thing next to being a dame, like getting damehood. They said it was funny. She said, "Baby, no, they're not. They would never give her a damehood. You trainees would never get a damehood under the monarchy." She said, "No, ma'am, but I'll give you the next best thing, a MB." Which I thought was beautiful. And what you gotta say, I don't want no motherfucking damehood anyway. That's for old ladies. Bitch. But no, I think she would have loved to be the first trans woman to be able to get that. But I thought that it was dope. And so what I think the overarching question to me in this documentary, there's a portion where they go and they're talking about Bambi. So Bambi is the one that was sitting next to Alana that spoke French, and they had to do subtitles to her voice. Bambi also worked at the carousel. Bambi also went and got her sex change and left the carousel to go be a teacher in Stealth for 30 years. So she worked at elementary, she worked at university, she was a teacher. She became a teacher. And so she worked there for 30 years, but she had to be stealth because she said, girl, if I would have been open, they would have thought that I was going to be trying to molest the kids. I wouldn't have been able to work there as a trans woman and be a teacher for 30 years if I would have told my tea. So eventually, now that I'm old and I'm retired, I wrote my book about my life and people found out that I'm a trans woman. And so and I love that they did this, because if you were at any point judging Amanda for keeping her secret and feeling like, oh, bitch, why are you doing this? Because we can also look at her beauty, because it wasn't like Amanda wasn't sickening. We can look at her opportunity. If there was any chance, I wasn't judging her, but somebody could have. If there was any chance you was looking at her like, oh, bitch, you hiding and you da-da-da-da-da, and you got all these privileges. Look at what you could have done if you were open about it. Blah, 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 blah. If there was any chance, this is a regular trans woman who did regular stuff, who just was like out here teaching. She wasn't being a superstar. Because being a star is sometimes more coveted to some people than being a teacher. And so Bambi said, I did literally exactly what Amanda did to keep myself safe, to get opportunities that I want. I didn't want to be a star. I wanted to be a fucking teacher. So I wanted to be a teacher. But I didn't want to lose that work. I didn't want to lose the opportunity. So I kept my transness a secret. But now that I'm retired, I wanted to tell my story. And now I've become this beloved trans icon. And people love me now. And I have a book and da 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 da. And so she said that her friend Capucine, who was her friend during that time, they both were secret trans girls. They both were stealth. And she said that her friend, when she came out as a trans woman, she said her friend felt like she betrayed her. And she said part of her felt like that too. She was like, girl, we not these new girls. Now I'm isolated. It used to be us together. Now I don't want to be trans. I don't want to be activist. I don't want to do shit for my community. I just want to live my life happy and cozy and peaceful with none of that shit going on. I don't want to be an activist. I just want to be me living my life. And so that was a powerful moment for me, because not that I haven't heard that before, it's just with all that's going on in this documentary, that is the thing. Like, which one is the right choice? And I don't think that each one of them is the question is like, are you not living an admirable life if you're not helping the people behind you? If you choose to just live your life happy, is it admirable to do that? It wouldn't be for me. I don't want to judge nobody else, but it wouldn't be for me. Especially the problem that I have with shit is that it's girls before you that allowed you to be in a position where you could get your stuff changed enough to be stealth how you want to be. And so those girls took that risk for you, and you're just using it and not helping the girls behind you. That's selfish to me. It's selfish. It feels, I don't think you owe it to community, But it does feel selfish. Yeah. Especially now. I mean, she's retired now, right? Yes, she is retired now. And that's why she said I come out. I'm done with working. I'm just chilling, living off my fucking my pension. So she's retired and getting her life. It all, it's cool. So that's what I feel like, Amanda. It's like, why are you still holding on to this? Your career is over. You're done. You're retired. You're spraying your lush greens. Why are you still holding on to this? Especially during this trans renaissance, bitch, your career is over. Why are you still holding on to this lie? Why not be a beacon of light and say, yo, yeah, y'all know what I was living. Y'all know how I was living, child. Y'all know the era I come up in. I wouldn't have been able to be Amanda Lear. You think we wouldn't understand that? You think we wouldn't understand that you couldn't tell people your tea back then? Why are you still lying about it now? She's almost 90 at this point and had open heart surgery not too long ago. Yeah. That's what's strange to me. Let me see how old she is. How old is Amanda Lear? She's 85. The one that's accepted is the is a 1939 one, which makes sense with her age with Ashley, April. So that's the question that I have for y'all. Like, I understand April, but I understand Amanda too. Amanda wouldn't have reached the peak that she did. I don't understand her lying now. I understand her lying then. So why do y'all think she is lying now? Is it just April is not alive anymore? April died. I felt that too. At the end of the documentary, it felt like she was thinking about it and just like and closed back up. Yeah, April passed a couple of years ago. Let me see. When did April Ashley die?
April Ashley died on December 27th, 2021.
Thank you. So recently, yeah. I always think of the line at the end of Casablanca. We'll always have Casablanca as something girls probably kiki about. I always wanted to know more about Capucine and Cochineal. Yeah, I want to know more about the black girls. That's kind of what I want to know what the. But when I was asking about, anytime I would ask a racial question while I was in France to people, they would always say, "Oh, no, 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 no. France isn't like America. We don't have that kind of racist problem." And I would be like, "Yes, y'all do. Y'all do. All the black people live in the high districts. All the black people live in the 17, 18, 19, 20 in the high poor districts. They don't live in the districts of the lower districts, like 1 and the 7th and the 5 and the 6, and they don't live in the expensive districts. So there's a race problem. Y'all, it's just different. It just has warped into something here. It's just different. Ask the Africans, exactly. Baby, they was chasing the Africans down while we was there. And people was treating us like shit until they heard our accent. Soon as they hear our accent, then it's like, ooh, Americans, hey. But if they thought we was Africans, baby, they would wear us out. And I already dressed Afrocentric. So if they thought I was African, they would be treating you bad until they hear your accent. Then it's like, oh, you're American. Then they treat you good. So nigga, fuck out of here. Y'all got races over in this motherfucker. And I know how racism fucking work. Y'all erase people. Ass Haiti. Huh. How about that? So yes. So Bambi was saying that she was exposed. Her friend Capuchin was mad at her, and and I think the decision that you got to make is to help others or to not help others. And I think it's okay to be stealth. I think it's okay to be stealth. But I can't say that I don't judge you if you're not doing something even behind the scenes to help the community move forward. Like, I understand being stealth. I understand it. I can't judge. There's moments where I don't want to tell my tea. So there's no judgment. But my life also surrounds me trying to make the world better for people to come in my own little particular way to make the world better for people coming behind me. So in my way. Now, I may not be doing the most whatever on somebody else's standard, but I do feel like even behind the scenes that you should be doing something. It seems like Amanda was going to open up. Yeah, that's what Raven said. And I agree. I felt like she was too. I was like, was she about to do it? But honey, she's even in her comments right now. In her comments, I went to her comments and somebody was asked her about Enigma, and she said it was trash. Rubbish, trash, lies. All lies. I said this bitch is dedicated. Dedicated, baby. It's actually a motherfucking key. It's really a key. I said, come on, Amanda. You better. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, bitch. That is so weird to me. It's weird to me at this age. At 85, I tell all y'all hoes, bitch. I got my house. I'm good. Gotcha. It would feel like a gotcha moment. Y'all got me rich and paid and famous. Gotcha. Yep, girl. I had to lie, girl. All them years. But look at what it got me. That's what I would be like. Mm. So yes, I think it was an amazing documentary. Make sure y'all thumbs up if y'all made it to this part. Make sure y'all thumbs up. I think it was an amazing documentary. I think it was dope. I think with her Butch Queen husband who died in a house fire, good for him. I forgot to talk about this part. Another part that was a motherfucking Kiki when April went to Nice. When April went to Nice with her new husband and saw Amanda in the restaurant, and Amanda zoomed off in the bike. Bitch. Baby, when she zoomed off in that bike, like, oh, this bitch, how the fuck are you in Nice? Because if you been to Nice, it's so many bougie ass people that's kind of walking around. And so for her to be sitting there drinking her shit unbothered. And then this bitch come up. She says, no, I gotta zip off in my bike, honey. Cause it's a key. Cause it's a key, cause y'all know, I know if you one of the girls who have ever been in a stealth situation and either a butch queen come up to you or a clocky trans girl come up to you and you like, girl, you really trying it. And you got to make a decision to be a weird ass bitch that's going to be like, oh no. Or just kind of play it off and stumble through it. Like, hey. But the fact that Amanda just doubled down on weird ass bitch. And didn't even get a taxi, was riding on a bike, girl. Cackle. Bitch, that shit was funny. She says, I can't get away from this bitch, girl. This bitch. All right, so I want to show y'all this because this is a part of the this is a part of that weird conversation. I think that this is a one of those weird conversations. Their dynamic could have been a good TV show. It really could have. All right, so I want to play this. So will clocky trans women ever be accepted by society? I think that's like asking, will racism ever not exist? Will fat people ever be just fully accepted by society? Will those things, though, the beauty standard is always going to exist and it's always going to fluctuate. It's always going to fluctuate. So there probably is going to be some time down the line where trans is a little bit more accepted. I feel like in the moment that we are in right now, I feel like we're in a different space than we were in 1980. In a better space when it comes to acceptance. Even with all the anti-trans rhetoric and blah, 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 there are way more people to me in my lived experience that when they know your tea, oh girl, who cares? Get your life. I think we are in a different era. But will transphobia just totally be cured? I don't think it will. I just think it's over time it's going to lessen and lessen and lessen. The future I see for clocky trans is what I see for fat folks. People are holding on to fat phobia. People are holding on to racism. People are holding on to misogyny. I think those things are going to always exist at some extent, maybe a lesser extent, but at some extent. Why is this not playing, girl? Play.
So I just seen a video of a T-girl on here asking, like, what do other T-girls do for work because she can't find a job because she feel like she's being discriminated against. And all in the comments, I see a bunch of people saying, girl, post the ad, start selling it. And why do y'all have to make that the norm? Like, y'all make it seem like that's all we could resort to. You could get a regular job. Like, oh, I'm passable, and, that's how I got this job. I started at the post office, and you can't even say it was the looks. This job built my lifestyle. But I'm going to make sure I say this, though, because I know how y'all get. I never knock the girls that sell it. Like, you get it how you live. We all different strokes for different folks. So I just wish that y'all stop trying to guide these young girls to making it seem like that they just have to do sex work, that they just can't get a job, that no job wants them. Can you read? Can you write? Can you count? Can you multitask? So I just seen a video of a T-girl on here asking, like, what do other T-girls do for work because she can't. And just because people could look at you and tell that you a trans, that they wouldn't want to. Okay, well, some jobs in some cases they do, but in most cases they don't give a fuck about that. Bitch, it's really the type of person you are, the way you come off. A lot of y'all be having these distasteful personalities and coming off just so harsh because you feel like you already know how the world looks at you, so you just gotta come off with this aggressive persona. No. Up here using the job don't want to hire you because you trans whole time. They don't want no bitch with no attitude at they register to take your orders. So it's like, apply for that job, go get that job, and go to that interview, get yourself together just like you would for a date, and go to that interview and get that job. Stop letting these girls convince y'all and make it seem like y'all gotta do sex work. No, you can get a regular job, bitch. Go get a job. And just because people can look at you and tell that you a trans.
Okay. So, listen. So, like I just said, I do think we are in a different era. And I do think that there are a plethora more opportunities for us to explore when it comes to what we do to live, what we do to pay our bills. I do think that there are some more opportunities. When I think about back in the day, we talking about this documentary where there weren't options. You either was going to be at the carousel or you was going to be a prostitute. Nobody was hiring your ass if they knew that you were trans. So we are not in that era. So are there opportunities for girls to go get a job? Yes. But the story you're telling is a girl who is coming to the internet asking the girls what the trans girls are doing for work because she is being discriminated against. She's telling you that I cannot find a job. I am trying to get a job, but I feel like I'm being discriminated against. And she didn't tell you nothing about, oh, I have an attitude. You making it seem like trans women just got an attitude and so they can't find jobs because they don't know how to act. You thinking that discrimination has something to do with not knowing how to act? And this is why anecdotal don't always work. Do I think that there's some trans women that don't know how to fucking act? Sure. But I don't think that's the root of all trans women's discrimination at jobs and at work. I'm an old church queen. I know how to go and be respectable. And I got fired from 3 jobs for being trans. I'm not sucking no niggas' dick in the bathroom. I'm not voguing. I'm not doing any of that faggy shit. I'm not doing any of that. I'm coming in like a respectable woman, and I still was fired from 3 jobs for being trans. And just because you are blessed with an opportunity, 2 things can be true. That doesn't mean that that opportunity is available for everybody. And conversely, that don't mean that you don't go try it out. If you're a trans woman, that don't mean you don't go try it out. Go try it and see. It might work for you. Go try and see. What the girls are doing is telling you this is an easy option. It may not be the respectable option to you, but it's an option. It's an option. It's like, girl, it goes back to what I was telling y'all. Sometimes I am thinking about, when I think about sex work, it's just a tool in the toolbox. And it's a tool that I'm glad I knew when I needed it. When I was in my brain on some respectability politics, having my nose up to prostitution, I got fired from a job. My name wasn't changed yet. I didn't have the I was fucking in Indianapolis. I didn't have opportunity just at my hand to be able to pay bills in the moment. We ain't talking about, oh, I got enough time to figure something out. No, bitch, these pink slips is on the door. Landlords is knocking on the door, and I got the door locked, and I done cut the lights off, and I'm hiding so he don't see that I'm in here. And the next time he threatened leaving a note saying the next time he coming with the sheriff. So we not talking about I have time. So bitch, I had to throw an ad up. Let's see what y'all saying. This is privilege. Yes, it is privilege. You got a job. And you talk about, let me show you old pictures of me when I started my job. Okay. You don't look like you was that ugly or that super. It's not that saying that you weren't clocky, but you also is at a job where you mostly by yourself. When you are a post office mail person, y'all be by y'all fucking self, which is a strategy. That don't mean that that's a wrong strategy, but you can't talk to me about discrimination if you're at a job where you mostly work by yourself. That feeds into the pull yourself up by your bootstraps narrative. Absolutely. She sounds crazy. I don't think she sounds crazy. I think she sounds privileged. I don't think she sounds crazy. I do. I think I think in situation like this, you have to watch your tone. But I also think that, yes, I don't think it should always be the first resort. When somebody comes to me and like I can't find no job, I'm gonna go through to tell them every other way before I get to the prostitution. I'm gonna try to say, hey, what about, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Let me see your resume. Let me see. I'm gonna try to figure out. Let's see where the holes. I'm not saying that it's not gonna work because I know how discrimination works. But let's try to make the legitimate way work, quote unquote legitimate. And then not, I'm gonna say, hey, well, then it might be time. Who you out here fucking? You fucking for free? It might be time for you to ask the niggas that you fucking for some money. And if they don't want to give you no money, like, should you be fucking them for free? If they don't want to give you no coins in your times of need, should you be sleeping with them for free? I'm just saying, I wouldn't be. If I asked a nigga for some money in my time of need and he say, nah, I'm sorry, I ain't fucking you for free. We done. Not saying that it's his responsibility. But I just know that my coochie dries up for niggas that don't want to do nothing for me when I in my time of need. Now, if I want to fuck you for free, cool. But in my time of need and I ask you for help and you can't help, oh, I ain't about to do no more free fucking. Oh, no, baby. We done. That's just what it is. One day you'll come in with no makeup or voice deeper than a normal, and now you're a distraction to the environment. Sometimes it does take time. Employers absolutely should be aware of your transness and protect you in the workplace because of it. This society depends on the exclusion of non-marketable LGBT identities and aesthetics. The exclusion stabilizes heteropatriarchy. It depends on the girls to explain that. I feel like there's a parallel with that and how dark skinned folks get talked to. You presume we're not happy with ourselves, predetermined that we will be aggressive and handle us accordingly too. Mm, hmm I can see how you can make that parallel. I think that is a good connection. That's a good call out. I think dark skinned people, I think black people from other races, you automatically gonna assume I'm gonna be aggressive or that I didn't go into the interview with my dress nice. You think I just came in there? Oh, I'm gonna fuck up this shit. You thought I'm coming in here? My interviews turned up. You think I can't come to work and do my job because I'm trans or because I'm black or because I'm dark, whatever? Yeah, I think that's all connected. It's respectability politics. It's the assumptions. Yeah, yeah. It's just yeah. I just don't think that is. I don't think that that's helpful. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think that conversation is helpful. And these sites like this are propaganda sites, and so what you're doing is giving them fodder. I bet you if I go to the comments, let's go to the comments. It's gonna be some butch queens in there. I'm seeing a lot of here she go. I mean, did she lie though? No lies detected. I love to see the sisters stepping up outside of their comfort zone and getting 9 to 5s. Here's a cis woman, which I think is beautiful. Absolutely hard to get jobs in this economy. Here go London. London says, real out something. I guess they're saying she's real. Okay. Privilege. Being real is a privilege. The Butch Queens is in here talking about facts. Exactly. This is I just don't think that this is helpful. I think that this is privilege and it's I don't want to say ignorant. I just think it's tone deaf. Like you can just say, "Hey, um yeah, I just think it's tone deaf." That's what it is. I feel like um if you don't want to give the sex worker help, don't give it. Give her the number to your supervisor since your job is so great. Give her the number to your supervisor, your job. Put in a referral for her. But you're probably not going to do that because you think that trans women don't know how to act because that's what you jump to. Clock that T. You jump to, even though she didn't say nothing about, she don't know how to act. But for some reason, you think that trans women don't know how to act at jobs, but you got some special skill that makes you know how to act in jobs. You know how to be respectful. You know how to talk to people like they got some sense. You know how to be classy. You see how this conversation gets real weird, but you assume that that's her problem. But what if that's not her problem? What if she's just getting discriminated against? Because we know that discrimination happens. And so while you may not want to give her the sex worker advice, you give her a referral to your job. Put your money where your mouth is since you care so much. It's giving house training. It is. Master take good care of me. Master take good care of me because I don't want no trouble. And I act like a real woman. I know how to come in and sit down and act like a lady in my job. And I look at me. This is before I had any surgeries. This is before I did anything, and I still was able to work my job. Ooh, yeah. So now I come and I got a nice wig, and I'm sitting and driving in my car alone. I'm sitting driving in my car, and they don't bother me. You should be out there getting a job just like me. But you don't know how to act. You don't know how to act like a lady. You too busy acting like a faggot. If you didn't act like a faggot, you would have a job. They wouldn't be able to discriminate against you. But me, I know how to be a real woman. That's how the hoes be talking. Like they immune to transphobia because they know how to keep a job. They immune to transphobia because they know how to keep their mouth shut. They immune to transphobia because they just so happen to look cute. Okay. We got whole documentaries about beautiful trans women being discriminated against who know how to act. You can't tell me that April Ashley don't know how to act. This bitch act just like a posh ass white British hoe and was getting discriminated against. Girl gone. Give the girls the number to your job. Cis women come to work every day, stay hired. Yeah, it's wild. Wild, 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 wild. Oh, my love. So, yeah, I just thought that was just it's definitely respectability politics. I think coon mentality people. I think I want to say, is it coon mentality? I don't know what it is. It's just I feel like that's a class. I feel like that's a class issue. That's not necessarily a coon, but there's a whatever that there's a elitist. I guess that's what it would be. It's elitist. There's a class um analysis that we need to have. Are you actually being helpful when it comes to your advice to people? Are you being helpful or are you just being judgmental? And are those judgments allowing you to assess a situation that's not necessarily true across the board? I got mine. People are very willfully blind. Mm-hmm. And that does, and once again, I want to reiterate, it doesn't mean that I don't understand not wanting to pigeonhole us into just sex work. Yes. But if I'm coming to a girl or community, I want her to know all of her options. All. This is the option that you can do if you need some money quick. This is the option if you got time to go out here and go to the temp service and go to this and go to that. Da 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 da. Do this. Yeah. Let me see your resume. Make sure it's all good. Let me What you when you go to the interview, what you wearing? Let me show you change how you dressing. Does a simulation require respectability? Yes. Yes. It's unavoidable. I don't think you have to follow all aspects. You don't have to assimilate in all aspects to be respected. But I do think that if you're trying to be respected, there are certain things that you got to adhere to. Some extremely passable girls as a messenger for this is a fool for sure. Um, and what I learned, New York, is a lot of time those girls when they get in them situations where they're being discriminated against for something, like say that they get exposed at work, and then now they need the community to step by them and be a bullhorn. And it happened with Nikki Aragoose. She was stealth, and then when shit started to hit the fan, she had to come to community to come help her. And it's gonna be the Monica Roberts, the not so passable girls that's gonna be on the bullhorn trying to get you your rights, fighting for you. It's gonna be the girls you know, who know how to speak to this. And it's always weird to me when the girls who be stealth, when when the chicken come home to roost or whatever the saying is, when the shit hit the fan, now it's like, oh my God, I'm a trans woman and they're discriminating against me. Come help me, please. Where's my community? Stand behind me, y'all. So do you stand with me? But before that, you was hiding that you was trans, running for mayor. That's literally what she was doing. You was running for mayor, hiding that you was trans. But now that the shit done hit the fan, oh my God, yes. I don't really understand your question, T. What about the colonity of woman in general? How does that intersect with being a black trans woman? I don't know what you're talking about. Give me the layman version because I don't know what you're talking about. Ask the question in layman's terms. Make me seem like I'm a 5-year old or a high schooler. Diamond, this is speaking to my soul. I recently got laid off from my job because of my budget constraints. Right. You didn't even get laid off because you trans. You got laid off because these motherfuckers is losing hours. I work in childcare, so it goes back to the education thing Trump is doing. So it wasn't even about transness. This job was very accepting, and I'm nervous looking for a job where I have to meet new people. It's scary. You're right. But put your best foot forward. Dress the part. Um, Make sure your resume is up to date. And know what you talk about. Be confident. They always want to be passable when the girls who actually move the needle give Marsha B. Johnson, Sylvester, and Miss Major. Bloop, bloop. Do you worry about having a F on your passport or being arrested for it when you're going in the airport in the future? That used to be a thing. My primary told me to travel to Mexico under my primary told me to travel to Mexico under this administration. I'm going to Mexico in September. Um, I'm not worried. I'm not heavily worried. I guess I won't say that I don't think about it at all, but I'm not heavily worried. Um, I think if I was a Latinx girl, So how colonial powers shape and impose gender roles and identity on colonized population, particularly women. Okay, so you explained that. So what about that in general? How does that intersect with being a Black trans woman? So what do you mean by that in reference to what you're saying? Like if you're trying to be trans revolutionary, being super stealth and progressive absolutely don't coincide. Yeah, it doesn't. Um and I think it's a time and place for everything. I think that sometimes I'm not trying to be revolutionary. Like I remember I went on a trip and the girls that we were with, I think we talked about it. We went on a trip to Egypt and we were just kind of going through and Aria told our tea. And I felt like that was inappropriate. I felt like I didn't understand why she did that. Did I care too much? No, but I don't feel like it should have our tea should have been told. I don't think it's something that we needed to discuss in that space. And you discussing it can give us more problems than we actually need in this situation. So I felt like you shouldn't have told our tea. But I'm also older and mature. I would have been way more pissed when I was younger because why are you telling our tea? Like, because I was more invested in passing, and especially when it was unnecessary, and that was a part of the game. When I was younger, that was a part of how trans girls, passable trans girls, don't be out here just spilling their tea. Girl, get out of here. Does Black trans womanhood follow a white script? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It depends on how invested you are in white European beauty standards or standards of beauty. I think they can. It depends on the Black woman you talk to, the Black trans woman you talk to. I think if you go to my video about the femme queen aesthetic, I talk about it. Does it cause conflict? Conflict with who? Using discretion is a part of being mindful of consent is something I've been told recently. Using discretion is a part of being mindful of consent. I totally agree. I feel like you can tell your tea, but you don't need to tell all our tea. But also, it's your tea to tell, but also, I don't think it's necessarily smart. Why are you? We're on a trip to in Egypt, a place known that can be real spicy for discrimination with LGBT people. Like it's criminalized in certain instances. So why are you just openly talking about our tea? And so I felt like I would have been more mad if I was younger, but I don't think I would be mad. I think I was less mad as an adult, but it was like, girl, me and the other girl, me and Brianna was like, girl, why is she telling our tea? That's crazy. And Brianna's post op, and also the other thing about it is me and Brianna are living, we are staying in the same room together. And that is one of the reasons why, in certain instances, the Egyptians in certain cities, you can be locked up by two women or two men living in the same room together. And so it was fucking weird. It was weird for her. And we was like, girl, why did you do that? But in her mind, she thought that we should just be doing it. Because the only person who knew our tea was the tour guide because it was sponsored. So it was just weird. It was just weird. Of all places, Egypt. Child. Yeah, it's silly. Like the Middle East. Right. It did make sense. It did make sense. And there's a difference between people assuming. I'm not saying that, somebody might have clocked. No, I don't feel like I be feeling like I can tell when people clock T. Um, I'm not saying that we was just super unclockable and da 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 da, but we can tell a shift in how people were treating us. Like these people from Florida, these Trumpers from Florida, they started treating us weird because you didn't let our tea out. So it started to be like, girl, what? What was it? This is what we're trying to avoid. Did it turn into something ugly? No. But these are the things that you avoid if you don't confirm your tea. We need to be like Amanda Lear. Let the spirit of Amanda come over us. The spirit of Amanda. You didn't answer my question, TG. You said, does it cause conflict? Does it cause conflict with who? I mean, that feels like a 101 question. Like it feels like does colonization cause conflict for all of us? Yes, it causes conflict for all of us. Does the rules of European beauty, the rules of professionalism, the rules of any kind of respectability politics that's rooted in white dominance, white supremacy, does it cause conflict? Of course, it causes all conflict. So I'm. Do you need the answer to that question? Of course it does. Conflict to who? And the degree of conflict is going to be different depend on your circumstance. It depends on how much you are invested in that assimilation. It depends on how much you are invested in that standard. So it just depends. Just called all the way up, but I definitely clocked that April called Amanda a young male artist, and that was through the through line because the art was in the background. It was so shocking the interview did it. I was so shocked that the interviewer didn't ask about it. I don't think that they needed to ask about it. I think that that's the reason why they put it there, why they decided to record there. I don't think they did. I think that was the subtext of the whole conversation. The subtext is I'm about to be showing you these pictures of your old self, and in the background is your art from your old day, not from your old days, but this is something about you that connects you to all of these experiences too. Which made it even funnier that you are denying it. Documentary shade. Because if you watch most good documentaries, those things are are a part. That's the subtext of the conversation. Amanda was funny. She snuck to her gun. She did that photo, everything. She did not. That was one of my favorite parts when she was sliding them up. That's not me. That's not me. I don't know her. That's not me. That's not me. That's just me. She looks beautiful, but that's not me. That's not me. I don't know her. I thought that was a key. I know her parents are probably dead, but I wonder what her parents thought about her seeing her, or did they even know it was her as a superstar? Now that y'all mentioned that, do you think that it's a soft launch for her coming out soon with a book of some sort? If I didn't see her in her comments talk about all this is lies, I feel like she's gonna go to the grave with it. I feel like she's gonna go to the grave. Cause I mean, you're 85, child. You're 85. You ain't on the road no more. Ain't very few opportunities. And it's not like nobody thinks it. It's like, girl, you are 85. Come on. And then part of me is also like, bitch, but who are you? In my mind, like, girl, this her life. Why are you so pressed about her coming out in her tea, girl? Like, it's like a strange thing for me where I'm like, this her life. She just, honey, what if she's invested in this just being her legacy? I want to be the fish, girl. And I don't want my legacy to be tarnished by this. I want it to constantly be, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. Girl, here you go. I was the white queen of disco. That's what I was, baby. Trans, cis, whatever. I was the white queen of disco. I was the muse of I can't, I be fucking up his name. Salvador Dali. I was the muse of um David Bowie. I was these things, bitch. That's what I was. You talk about, was I trans? Was I a boy? Was I what I was this? An icon, baby. An icon of an era. That's what I was. I don't know none of um Amanda's music like that. I ain't really like a super disco fan. I ain't really disco fish like that. It's just some songs I like, but I can't come off the top of my head to know an Amanda Lear song. Yeah, none of the songs that they were playing of hers, I knew. Like I knew who Amanda Lear was, but she wasn't. I'm trying to think of who is somebody that I could reference that's similar to her. Um she was like the girl with the who's the girl with the blonde hair that had the it kind of looked like a she was a woman. She had a military, it looked like a military box cut, and she was a disco queen. It's one of the most popular disco songs. It's like right on the tip of the not Robin. No, Robin wasn't alive. We talk about disco girls in the era of disco. Robin wasn't alive. Robin is like electronica pop. Name starts with a R. I don't know the name. I just remember a video of her and she was singing. If you it's one of the most popular disco songs. And because what keeps coming up in my brain, not Debbie Harry. I know that's not Debbie Harry. Not Debbie Harry. Hers look more like I don't know. I can't explain it. My brain keeps saying, "I'm your Venus, I'm your fire, your desire," because I just watched that fucking documentary. But that's not the song. It's It is like right there, but it keeps going to my brain keeps going to Venus. Not Olivia Newton-John. No. This is somebody that is like a one-hit wonder. She's blonde and it's short on the sides and it's like kind of boxy. Y'all, when I play this song, y'all know what it is. Let me see. Top 10 disco songs.
Songs frequently mentioned on the web include Disco Inferno, I Will Survive, Le Freak, and others.
Nightlife. I think that's it, girl. Nightlife. I think that's it. What's some words to nightlife? I love the nightlife. I come to boogie. Something about I come to boogie. Is that it? Something about I come to boogie. I cannot get the melody. Oh, the nightlife. I come to boogie. I love the nightlife. Yep, that's it. I love the nightlife. That's it. Yep, that's it. This is the hair I was talking about. Alicia Bridges. Yeah, somebody just said Alicia Bridges. Yes. That's the hair I was talking about. It was given lesbian. Sweet dreams are made to live. No. That's Annie Lennox. Why can't I get this melody? I need to play this. I love the nightlife. I need to hear the melody because I don't know why I keep trying to. My brain is going to the Venus song. I don't want to cut it up because I don't want it to catch the action. I want to give. I want to give it to. Oh, I love the nightlife. I come to boogie in the disco now. Yes, this song. This is it. This is whoever this woman is. That's how I think about Amanda Lear. Like I know when I look at her, I know she's from disco era, but I know she's from the disco era, but I don't know a song by her. So that's how I think about Amanda Lear, like I think about Alicia Bridges. So if I look at Alicia Bridges, I might not know her name, like I just didn't know her name. But if I see her, I know where I know her from. So Amanda Lear is like that. I know she's from a certain era of time. Yeah. So that's how I think about Amanda Lear. I don't think about Amanda Lear like she is some musical icon. I know she's important to the era of time, but yeah. I don't think of her like that. She wasn't in my she wasn't the white queen of disco to me. Alicia Bridges is the white queen of disco. Because when I think of disco music, that's the music that I come to when it comes to white girls. Like when I think about like Gloria Gaynor. There's so many other disco songs. The Bee Gees. Staying alive, staying alive. Yeah, there's so many other disco songs that I think about that they ain't white people. hmm The Emotions Are My Disco Queens. Yeah, baby, the gay clubs still play I Love the Nightlife to this day. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in regards to the documentary. I think it was good, and I want y'all to check it out. It was fire. I go the nightlife. I go the boogie. That part is always vocally funny to me. I'm gonna rewatch it. Yeah, rewatch it and get your life. Yeah. Oh, make sure y'all thumbs up too. Oh, there's 35 people in here, and 35 people have thumbs up. Yay! Mm. But all right, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. I clearly got to be up at 9 o'clock in the morning now that I have signed up for that. Give me an excuse to go to the gym early in the morning. But all right. Make sure y'all go check it out and come back and tell me what y'all thoughts are in the comments. I will chat with y'all later. Have a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Make sure you get some barbecue. Make sure that you have fun and have a good time. In the name of our ancestors, like it's another Juneteenth. Night night.